Okay. First thing we like to do is, as presiding officer, we like to welcome our guests. And what I'm going to ask our guests to do is give a short introduction, say who they are, why they're here, and that's all you have to do for now. And then at the end, the meeting will go around again and ask you what you thought of the meeting. So let's start with our first guest. I'm looking for guests right here, I believe. Here, right here. Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh, Hannah, excuse me.
I'm Hannah, and just coming back the third time, so I really interested in joining the club.
Our next guest is Matthew.
Yep, I'm Matthew. I've been to Toastmasters Meeting once before at my university, the University of Shady Grove, years back, and coming back again after being in the industry for a while.
Good.
My name is Mike. This is the second Toastmasters meeting I've been to. Not here, I went to another one. And here, and the reason why I'm here is I figure at some point somebody might actually want to hear what I have to say, so I want to be able to present it well.
Our next guest is going to trot for hunger. So.
Oh, yeah, you forgot Kathleen.
Oh, sorry, Kathleen. Kathleen.
Yes, it's hidden anywhere. My name's Kathleen. This is my first Toastmasters meeting. I'm here because I work from home, and I think I'm losing my social skills. That's fine.
My name is Mariam, and this is the third time I've been here, and I just really like watching and listening to everybody.
Deval?
Yes.
You're still a guest?
Yes, I'm still
Okay.
here. Hi, my name is Dhaval, and this is my first time here. I'm here to improve my public speaking and presentation skills.
For those guests, thank you for all that, for introducing yourselves. But if you really want to practice a little bit and get your feet wet, there's a section called Table Topics where you can volunteer for an impromptu topic and practice speaking off the cuff. So you're all welcome to participate in that if you want. Deval, I think you've seen how it's done. Hannah, you've seen how it's done. And I forgot your name because you don't have
Mariam.
Mariam?
Mariam, yeah.
Mariam, good. You can do that too if you want to just break the ice. But make sure I don't know who's leading the table topics today, but yeah, so make sure you, if you like the topic, you talk about the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, let's move on. The inspiration today is being given by Alex Ball.
Yeah, Mr. Ironclad. That's the team I work on. I don't know if people know this, but when Abraham Lincoln was elected, he only got 40% of the popular vote. And for his presidency, he was wildly unpopular for a lot of it. And up to the point that he was reelected, there was a genuine chance he would not be reelected. And here we are 160, 70 years later, and he's known as one of the best presidents the United States has ever had. I think sometimes when you're facing a lot of adversity and everybody is against you, it's very easy to feel self-doubt. But I genuinely believe that if you believe in what you're doing, you'll probably be okay.
And that might be noted too that Abraham Lincoln failed a lot of times. I think presidency was one of the first offices he actually got elected to in these states. I think he was a representative too in Congress. He didn't like that and didn't. But he basically tried to apply to a lot of offices. He didn't get elected. So it shows you how persistence can do. So great example. Okay, let's move on now to actual meeting and leading that portion of the meeting. Is this your first time doing that? Good. Okay, good. So let's cheer him on. David Wood. Oh, yeah.
Joe is right, yes, it is my first time as a Toastmaster of the evening, so hopefully I don't screw it up.
Failure, remember, lots of failure.
So getting us started off here, so Toastmasters is a place where we can experiment and make mistakes. And from our mistakes and our failures, we get better. So we have today a well-organized structure. We have speeches, then we have an impromptu session, which is for which is called table topics. Then we have evaluations of our speeches. And at the end, we all just look around, talk to the guests, just see, how everyone felt about the meeting, and then network after. So to get things started, we have helpers for our meetings. And the helpers make sure to keep track of metrics of the speakers so that they can know what to improve on later. So to get us started, our first helper of the evening is our grammarian, Lizette Galone.
Hello, so I will be grammarian, and this is my first time doing this role too. I do not think I'm the best grammarian, but I will try. I know when something doesn't sound right, so I will look for that. And yeah, your word usage, word of the day, I will check to see if you use that. And then whatever I hear that I think might be beneficial to give you feedback on, I will comment.
Our next helper is the word of the day, and here to present our word of the day, Jody Schmidt.
So the word of the day is kinetic, and it means of or relating to the motion of material, bodies, and the forces of energy associated therewith. Active, dynamic, or energizing. Of or relating to kinetic art. And an example, second page. See, that's where the height of spaghetti mound comes in. The entire question hinges on how much momentum the meatball obtains as it rolls down. If the mound is very tall, the force of gravity could transform the meatball's potential energy into sufficient kinetic energy. Arthur B. McDonald, The Washington Post Magazine, 17 March 2019.
I'm an engineer by trade, so I love that word, Jody. Great.
Thank you.
Next, our next helper is the Wizard of Oz, to count all of my ums and ahs and everyone else's. But to present it, Leanne Nazar.
Yes, I am the Wizard of Oz, so's, and any other filler words that you might happen to throw in there. And I will be counting them along with right beside your name, so at the end of the meeting, I will let you know how well or not well you did.
Thank you, Leanne. Now, stepping up to take on a second role today is Jody Schmidt with the timer.
So I'll be keeping track of the speeches, the times, the table topics, the evaluations, the icebreaker speech, the evaluators. So I'll be using this timer. So when it's green, it means you still have time to talk. When it turns yellow, it means you need to start wrapping it up. And then when it's red, it means your time has expired. So you'll see those lights go on as you talk.
Now, what I love about this club is that whenever there is somebody who doesn't sign up for a role, we all pitch in to help out and fill in all the roles and make sure that the meeting can go smoothly. So thank you, Jody, for signing up for another role today.
You're welcome.
Next up is the vote counter, Alexander Ball.
For our guests, we vote on different prepared speaking portions during our meeting. I tally up the votes. It's at the bottom of your ballot. I count them up, I give them to the Toastmasters of the evening, and they give out awards to whoever gets the most votes.
All right, and so the helpers will be keeping track of those metrics for us. And then we'll be going into next the speech. Yes.
Did anyone need a ballot? I know we might need a
Ballots,
couple.
agendas, anybody?
Good. Okay.
All right, great. So next we'll be going into our prepared speeches for the evening. So our first speech is from Lisa Ripien. This is her second speech in the Pathways Project. The purpose of this project is for Lisa to present a speech, receive feedback, and apply that feedback to her second speech. Lisa's speech will share the way in which she views everyday adventures. Please join me in welcoming Lisa.
If you look up the word adventure in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it will define the word as an exciting or remarkable experience. Now, when I think of that, I think of an exotic trip somewhere, maybe Paris or Tahiti or Hawaii, somewhere exotic, somewhere where I can experience that adventure. But I'm here to tell you that you can have adventures doing everyday things in your everyday life. Now, there is, to go to Tahiti would be a lot more exciting than spending hours at the long-term parking looking for your car because you can't remember where you found it, where you parked it. So it took you 2 hours to find it. Or taking a trip downtown with 24 cranky second graders with a field trip on a walking tour of Frederick on the hottest day. But it's still an adventure. And I'm here to tell you that depending on the way you approach your adventure is the way that you will accept it and what you'll get from it. An adventure isn't necessarily exciting or entertaining while you're going through it. It just isn't. But I'm going to tell you, in the process of reviewing it, it can become remarkable and it can yield a wonderful story. So I want to relate one of my adventures. Getting lost on the freeway, forgetting to find your exit. I had gone up with my friend Jill. We had gone to visit my son Eran up in New Hampshire. We were coming back on a Sunday evening. We were tired, got on the bus, landed at BWI, went to long-term parking. I knew where I parked, yay. So we got in my car, we're driving. We get on 195, we're chatting. Oh, I'm so glad Eran's having a good time. Wait, I think I missed my exit. Oh my gosh, did I miss my exit? I'm talking to my friend Jill. I don't know, did you miss your exit? You have to understand one thing, the dynamics here. Jill and I have been on a lot of adventures, exciting adventures, Paris even, but also very mundane adventures. But it seems to happen that if I ask Jill a question, her opinion on whether or not I should turn right, go left, which direction I'm going in, she will say, basically, answer my question with a question. Or she'll just give me an answer because she knows I want an answer. It doesn't have to be the correct answer. So we're driving along, getting a little nervous. It's very dark because it's at night, and we're still chatting a little bit. And then I said, is that the direction we should be going? Is that our exit? I don't know, is that our exit?
Yeah.
I don't know, we just passed it. Oh my gosh, okay. So we keep on driving. On 195, I've missed what I think are my only 2 exits. 195 turns into 166. driving still. It's very quiet. The banter has ceased. I said, 166. Where does 166 take us? Now, mind you, I was thinking of that more as a rhetorical question. And again, I don't know. Where do you think 166 will take us? So we keep on driving and driving. Now, mind you, there are two women in the car. And you know, women will ask for directions. Men, not so much. Not that I want to be, sexist here, but we would ask a question. I would gladly pull over, find someone, and say, where the heck am I? But unfortunately, now on 166, I'm in the middle of nowhere with no gas stations, and even if there were gas stations, it'd probably be closed. So I keep on driving. 166 ends. Now I have to make a decision. Do you go right or do you go left? I'm not asking Joe. I'm just done. I'm a little edgy. So I think, what's the street name? Street name was Frederick. I thought, great, I'm going to Frederick. So I turn left on Frederick, and then I'm thinking, wait a second. Maybe I do have some sense of directions. But now I know that Jill and I both can get lost inside a box. We just have zero sense of direction. But I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with my gut feel. This is an adventure. So I turn left on Frederick, and then I see Rolling Hills, and I thought, that sounds like a good name. I go to Rolling Hills. Again, we're driving. And I'm trying to go with that gut feel, but I've had a gut feel before that wasn't correct. So I think, well, I'm going to trust it. I think this road will run into I-70. It has to. It has to be the right direction. And to ease my fears, I said out loud, well, we can't stay lost forever.
Yep.
No response. Great. I don't even get a question on that one. So eventually, I see the sign. It says I-70. Oh my heavens. I didn't want to sound too overjoyed because, I have no control. And this is an adventure and I can enjoy this. Right? So, we get on 170 and we make it home. We do make it home. Now, in reviewing this, I did consider that yes, I found a new scenic way to getting to Frederick. It was a discovery. Life is short. I have to embrace all of these adventures while I can. Because you never know when life will offer you anymore. You just don't. So you have to embrace them. So my suggestion to you is to consider taking that attitude also towards everyday, mundane, also sometimes a little edgy, makes you edgy, adventures. For life is an adventure.
Life is an adventure, and you made getting lost on the highway sound incredibly exciting. All right, our next speaker is Eran Bozas. She is doing her Pathways Dynamic Leadership. She's giving her second speech for the Level 1 Evaluation and Feedback Project. The purpose of this speech is to apply the feedback received from her previous speech, and she has chosen to present the same speech with a slightly new title, Unexpected Life Lessons from Trying New Rights. Please join me to welcome Eran Bozas with her return speech.
Lisa had a perfect speech for me because I'm going to talk about the adventure of trying new rice. I love trying new things, especially in the area of food. I think so far my speeches has been around food, so let's continue with that. So rice has been a very integral part of my life. I try almost everything when it comes to food. But interestingly, sometimes when something that is such an integral part of your life, you don't question it, you don't challenge it. You just do it. I've tried different dishes. I love curry, and I've made hundreds of different kinds of curry. And I'm still trying new recipes for another dish of curry. However, I thought about it. I never really look at the rice I eat. I have been eating jasmine rice for the last, I can't tell you because then I will expose my age. But for a long time, for as long as I have remembered, my family always ate jasmine rice. Rice is the oldest known food in the world that is still widely consumed. I was surprised to find there are 40,000 different varieties, when here I am eating jasmine rice for most of my life. And out of the 40,000 varieties, there are really 3 main varieties in the world that are most popular, and I'm sure most of you have heard of them. They are the Indian basmati rice, the Thai jasmine rice, and also the Italian arborio rice. And my jasmine rice made it to one of the most popular ones. It's not too dry, it's not too sticky, it's very versatile, to the point that my family loves sushi. I don't bother to buy another bag of rice. So I figure I'll just use my jasmine rice. And they come out pretty good. They look like sushi, they taste pretty good. Until about 2 years ago, my son, at the time was 10 years old, really loves sushi. So we started frequenting actual sushi restaurants. And I started to notice, it tasted a little bit different than my jasmine rice sushi. But I was still not willing to give up buying, well, not to give up, I'm still not willing to buy another bag of rice when I already have a 25-pound of jasmine rice sitting in my closet. But on his 11th birthday, I asked him, what do you want? It's your birthday, and we normally would do pretty much bend ourselves to do whatever is needed to make them happy. My son said, I would like to have a sushi party, and I want you to make the sushi. While I was really honored, at the same time was a little threatened because, not threatened, I was a little worried because these are all 10, 11, 12-year-old boys. I know my son loves sushi. I couldn't guarantee that other kids, other boys would like them. What if they don't want them? And I don't want my son to feel like he's the only one who likes this food. But then, despite my doubt, I said, okay, do that. So for this occasion, I want to make it authentic. So I went and got a big bag of sushi rice. I experimented with it, I tried it. It does take a little bit of method and practice, even though it's rice. It's actually kind of different. The amount of water you put in, the time you cook, you gotta fluff it, you gotta do this. But you use YouTube and then you learn it. You figure it out. So I'm glad to tell you it was a great hit. Every plate I brought out, they were gone. I mean, the year after, they still talk about it. I got calls from the mothers asking me, what did you feed my kids? They just love your sushi. And last year, they still asked me, are you gonna have a sushi party this year? So it was great. I was glad that my son went for what he wanted, and I honored that. And from that experience, after 25-pound bag of a sushi rice, I got really good at this, making sushi business. Then I was like, wow, I never challenged the use of the use of rice, because I always ate the same kind of rice. It was just such an ingrained part of my life. And here I was, discover an adventure of a new type of rice. And I got excited, so why not try other ones? Next thing you know, I had another bag of brown rice. And then recently, I tried Indian basmati rice. And you know what? It is perfect with curry because it's drier. So it goes good with saucy food. So there is a purpose for different kinds of rice. I think the best way for you to maybe understand that the minute difference could be if you like wine. I used to think, I don't drink, but I used to think, why people have so many bottles of wine? Like, you know, they try it, they taste it, they swirl it. Like, what's the point? But you know what? Now I get it, because if you understand it, it's fun. You want to try different things and different varieties. It has a little bit of minute difference, but that's the art of it. So from this experience, I must say, it opened up my view. Sometimes we like new things, we think we're adventurous, but it is the small things that we forget to challenge, to question. It could be the kind of coffee we drink in the morning, the route we take to work. It could be holidays, you know, where to host a party, at what time, how the turkey is made. Maybe it's time that we think about there might be other ways. You might discover some new possibilities and enjoyment from trying something new that you never really, you know, care or to even think is something that you want to try differently. So I challenge you, look at your life and see, besides the big things, a new vacation spot. Maybe it is the little things of try a new type of coffee next time, new type of tea, or even chatting up with a new coworker at work, because you might be surprised to find what you're going to find next. So take on that challenge.
Thank you, Eran. I'm starving now. Our last speaker of the evening, this is an impromptu prepared speech, but this is Larry Riggs.
So my speech is actually called Focusing on the Positive. It is one of the projects in level 3, one of the electives. And I thought this was very timely because, number one, that's kind of my training in what I do, is to constantly focus on the positive, to look for opportunity, to go places where there is kinetic energy. And I want to tell some stories about that because you may have heard that you go where you focus. I think I've told the story here before of a friend of mine who was taking a motorcycle course. And there was a huge parking lot, open parking lot. There was one tree in the parking lot. And the instructor made the mistake of saying to one of the students, "Don't run into the tree." So of course, she got on a motorcycle and ran into the tree. Totally open parking lot, ran into the tree, because she focused on the tree. The opportunity to fashion our lives the way we want is wide open. Not that there aren't obstacles that we'll face. I will tell you, when I came here last Thursday, I had been through actually a couple of gut-wrenching days. It was great to come to a place where there was energy. And I did get a hug from a friend when it was really needed. But looking for those opportunities, coming here, see, I could have just said, wow, I've had a really lousy time, I'm going to stay home. And then it would have been worse. That would have been a terrible thing to do. Constantly looking for opportunity and focusing on the positive can also open some tremendous doors. My broker signed me up for relocation work, which normally I haven't done in the past. And she asked me one time, she said, "Have you got any leads lately?" And I said, "No, I haven't heard a word." So she called, made a few inquiries, and found out that something was wrong in the registration. She straightened it out. So, okay, great. Our corporate trainer was coming up the following day to do some more training in accepting the corporate reloads. And she put up on the screen, well, let me preface this by saying, often in meetings, I know this is probably something I shouldn't do, I'll put my phone on the table, just in case I get an emergency call or something. You know, like somebody wanting to list or buy. And she put a number up on the board and she said, "Now, this is the relocation number. If you see this number come up on your screen, it's a message. You need to answer it. Then when you listen to the message, you press 5, it connects you with the lead." I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Let me make a note of that number. And then my phone starts vibrating. And I look at my phone. It's that number. So I immediately got up and left the room. And I pressed 5. Now, a funny thing happened. As a result of that, I spoke to the lead, met with her husband, They wanted to look at new homes. Well, as often happens, husband and wife weren't quite on the same page. Wife wanted a new home, husband wanted a single family. They're thinking, well, we can't afford a new single family, so we meet out at a builder's new townhouse. And they didn't really care for that. So we left, and they're driving through the development, and they find these other single families, but they're small lots, a little different style, a little less expensive than some of the big single families. And they say, we really like those, we'd like to see those. But, oh, this is wonderful. But we read on the front, it said, if you're working with a realtor, don't come in because they have to come with you first time. And they didn't go in. So we were going to meet there the following week. Well, they gave me a call and said, this is really bad. I don't want to waste your time. They're working with Navy Federal. Navy Federal is extremely conservative. They said, they gave us some issues that we got to work on. They said they can't do a loan for us right now. And I said, knowing this business the way I do, I said, you know what? I'm going to meet you out there anyway. If nothing else, I'm sowing a seed for future business. Well, we met out at the single families. And I also happen to know that those builders and their lenders will work a lot harder than some of the other lenders. And sure enough, we got them qualified, got everything worked out, and I sold them a $500,000 house. Because I have this funny thing, I just refuse to give up. If maybe that's my sales training, but if someone says no, we're always told, you know, look, it's when you get past the fifth no, you get to a yes. So you persist, you continue to focus on the positive. Because again, just like a motorcycle running into the tree, you go where you focus. And those opportunities continue to come. So I'm really busy trying to wrap the transaction up there, and sure enough, that number comes up again. Another guy wants to look at a house, and some of you know that in the summer, in the warmer weather, just as my recreation, I like to do ropes courses. So I'm a ropes course facilitator. I'm out on the course today. Group of young girls, they're having a ball. Interesting working with a group of young girls, keeping them focused on the positive. And I get a message. I love smartphones. I don't know how I did real estate without these when I first got in. I get a message. I'm getting the last of the documents. So I tell the listing I text her real quick. I say, I can't really get to my computer right now. She said, well, send it on your phone. Oh yeah, what am I thinking? You know, 5 minutes, I sent it on my phone, contract's done. So I sold a house today. The point is, if you are willing to relentlessly focus on the positive, it's going to come to you. And I'm not going to say bad things won't happen, because I'm going to tell you. The past couple of weeks have been a real struggle for me in certain areas. But you know what? There have been some really, really, really highs in this past couple of weeks too. Because I refuse to cave and give in to the negative. I refuse to sit home and not participate in life just because something bad happened. Because sure enough, if I'm willing to walk out the door, I'm willing to pick up the phone, something good will happen. Because I'm not going to give up on that possibility.
Expired stuff, Larry, thank you. Now we move on, or actually first, we must vote. So everyone, we have these little voting slips in front of us. You just go ahead and pick your favorite speaker of the evening. Our speakers were Lisa Riviere, Eran Bozaz, and the final speaker was Larry Ricks. right, now while that's going around, we'll move on to our next portion of the evening, which is table topics. Now, Larry really stepped up here because he's leading also our table topics discussion. Guys, please welcome Eran.
For our guests, table topics, the opportunity to be called on to speak just off the cuff. Most of the conversation we have with other human beings is going to be that way. It's not like you rehearse what you're going to say if you meet somebody in an elevator. So I thought to myself, in line with the speech that I chose to do, let's keep this really positive. I'm, knock on wood, the Maryland monsoons are over. And it's summer. And summer's the time people do some crazy things. They go on vacations, they have a lot of fun, to the beach or whatever. So I wanted the theme tonight for table topics to be fun things in summer. Now I just happen to have, I don't know how many times we're going to be able to do, but I happen to have 4 cards here. And they all have different questions about summer, and things about summer, and things you do in summer. So I got, by the way, I heard a rumor, no, it's not a rumor, somebody has wanted to speak table topics and has been nervous about it. So we're going to call you up first. So, pick a card and read your question out loud.
Okay. What is your favorite childhood summer memory and why? Well, actually, it's not my childhood, but anyway, my extreme fun summer memory. Well, what do you think when you think of summer? Maybe the ocean, or cool ice creams, or going very far away from the vacation? For me, my funnest summer was last summer when I was first in US. And what I did, I went to the water park. Of course, there's a lot of water parks in Korea, and I've been some of them. But the one here I've got was very special because I got to a water slide, and it was like I'm having the whole gravity in a sudden. Because the water slide was like 2 levels of buildings high, and I stand up, and there was something beneath my legs, and suddenly there was a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and nothing came under my legs. So I was just dropping in a second, and without realizing, I was at the floor level in the water. So I felt like my heart was missing after that. But I really enjoyed it, so I tried again and again until I was totally exhausted. So that was one of my funnest moments in summer, and it was the most memorable one.
Why you're so nervous? That was great. Okay, now we're going to ask for volunteer. And by the way, guests can volunteer. So who would like to be our next table time? Oh, come on up.
Middle here. What is your favorite summer activity and why? So, I have a bit of a sweet tooth. And I try and keep it under control, but when it's summer, you gotta enjoy yourself, right? So, my girlfriend and I were a bit of ice cream connoisseurs. We take our ice cream very, very seriously. None of that Turkey Hill, from the Giant and the Frozen section. We go to every single one of those farms that produce their ice cream. We try it out. We have very hippity-hoppity opinions about it, and we decide if we ever come back, and of course we leave a Yelp review. So, as of recently, that has been my favorite summer activity, spending time with my girlfriend and just eating ice cream.
Well, you know, it may bug the rest of us that somebody's that skinny and loves to eat ice cream.
That's the age.
We got time for one more? One more? All right, Joe.
What is my dream summer vacation? Why? Well, I'm going to sort of switch back to my dream summer vacation. Growing up in Southern California, you're 4 hours from the river, water skiing during the summertime, and it's desert, but it's by far my favorite vacation that I would ever do. It's so much fun. There's so much kinetic energy as you go across the wake, jump the wake, and go back and forth across. But the funniest experience I've ever had water skiing was one time we were skiing with some friends, and she was wearing one of those skinny, funky. When you go water skiing, you always wear secure clothing because otherwise you have those mishaps. Well, she lost her top, so she's under the water. Throw me a towel. Throw me a towel. But there's all those fun things that happen like that. The rest of the time we gave her a hard time. But going water skiing is really a lot of fun. It's fun watching my nephew, who's still in Southern California, and his family goes skiing all the time. And now they're into boarding. I always used to like going single ski, because that was the easiest for me to do. But doing it on a board is a little bit more challenging, but that's what they do. So I think if I had to redo a summer vacation, it would be fun to go with my daughters and my wife water skiing, because I don't think they have never been water skiing. They're not from the western part of the country where it's normal to go skiing like that. So that would be a fun vacation for me. Thank you.
Okay, to wrap this up, it is time to vote. So we have 3 participants. You, Alex, and Joe. Turn it back over to the Toastmaster.
Did you say on?
Thank you, Larry. All right, while we let those go around, we'll move into our final session of the evening, our evaluations. So getting us and leading us through the evaluations is the general evaluator, Trinimos.
Evaluations is so integral to Toastmaster experience. It gives an opportunity for evaluators to be leaders, bring out the best in others, give some suggestions, valuable suggestions, and how can they improve in the next attempt. My role involves talking about the entire meeting. It starts 1 week before. The Toastmaster of the evening, who is supposed to sign up, they look at everything, how all role is filled up, and then they send out emails, and that's what Jerry did. And the next moment I see Dave, sign up. I was gonna sign up for that, then I see, okay, Dave sign up, that's wonderful. Next I took the next appointment, next available role as the evaluator. So I'm gonna get the actual evaluations done, and then I'm gonna go give the overall how the meeting went. So the first evaluating Lisa is Louise.
Lisa, you were driving and talking with your friends. That was really great. It was great body language. It was a great story. I was to evaluate Lisa on a first speech and then give her evaluation back, and then she's supposed to take that evaluation and use it to improve the speech. So you get to hear it again. So it should be fun. You had to organize your speech, which you did a great job. You had to figure out what style you wanted to do. You had a very informal style. You walk and you talk, and you actually go, when you see people who nod their head, you go, uh-huh, do these kind of things that we know that we're connected to you when you talk to us. And you definitely look around the room. So that was very good. I had, vocal variety is great, eye contact is great, your gestures, like I said, you really go in with the gestures. You go, get your arms out there and you get moving. Audience, people laughed and follow along, you look very comfortable, and I think your topic was very interesting. You gave us something to think about at the end, which, this early level when you're going through, you don't have to do that, but you did. You wanted to make sure it had an impact on us to be able to challenge ourselves to go out and do adventures. You had a good beginning, middle, and end. That's how you do a good speech, so that you can, and then at the end you gave us a challenge. Your body language, you smiled. You said, when you said gut feeling, you held your belly. You're driving, you use your hands. The only thing I would like to challenge you with is you have some stopped sentences. You probably know you do it, so I challenge you to go back and watch the video. And I know you don't want to do it. We talked about that last time. For things like this, I wrote them down for you. You said looking, and then you stopped. You said spending time. You were trying to say, you knew right away you said the wrong word. Then you said say, and then basically, so you kind of stopped. Say wasn't a clutch word. You were about to say something. Use that word, but then you changed it to basically. I think it was when you were talking with your friend. You were talking with your friend. And then I have it under control. You kind of stopped in the middle of those three things. Maybe you could see how you could improve that. But otherwise, it was really great. I appreciate your time.
Second evaluator is Christine, evaluating Eran.
Eran's speech was also to do a speech on any topic and incorporate the feedback from last time into this. And I have to give you huge props. She just did her speech the last meeting and immediately did it again. Very good with that. You overhauled your speech. That was very different. Well, I'll start at the beginning. You came up and you referenced, you tied in Lisa's speech, which was great, because that's the audience was already following on Lisa, so you just kind of streamlined us right into that. You had a great speech introduction. The last time you didn't have one. You said this is the first speech where you went in on the website and you wrote in your entire introduction. So all of you guys remember to do that. The Toastmaster will take exactly what you put there and read it. So you got your pathway, what the project was, the purpose of it, what the goal of your speech was, and the title. So you did really good with all that up. Your opening was much better this time. You had something kind of droll. I'm not sure this will surprise you. And you took this from a very organized, chronological, historical speech to one that was a whole new story. from beginning to end, it was one big story. Originally, you had the history of rice, and it was very well organized. I mean, I couldn't fault anything for that, but you just turned this into a completely dynamic speech. Even though you had some small stories, it was all part of one big story. And you ended with your challenge to us, what your lesson was. And when you did your first speech, you gave us your life lesson at the end. We had this whole story, and then you added this nice little life lesson. This time you weaved it in from the introduction of the speech, leveraging off the fleeces all the way through and ending with the challenge. And you gave us a challenge of some bite-sized, everyday ideas of how to apply it. I was so impressed at how well you did. I can't think of any suggestions to give you. Just continue to do speeches. You were so much more comfortable this time. Just do more speeches, and then you can practice more gestures. But your volume was great. Voice variety. You had a lot of emotion, excitement, wide range of expressions. And gestures were good, so I mean, just keep practicing with those, but fabulous, fabulous job.
And third evaluator is Bakari Simba, evaluating Larry.
Wow, Larry. It's always a challenge when you have to evaluate a veteran. There's a saying in the Middle East, you know, you feel like a lamp when the sun's coming up in the morning. When it was dark, the lamp was useful. But once the sun is out, it's like, okay, where is the lamp? But I always love it when Larry comes here to speak. For one thing, he's very grounded. His speech, which I learned from, is very measured. When I get here, I tend to speak way too fast, but Larry, he speaks slowly. That causes you to kind of like listen a whole lot more and absorb what's being talked about. And then he also had impromptu speeches. Impromptu speeches, excuse my code, are kind of hard to do. You have to kind of think fast on your feet. But within Larry's speech, there's also training within that in terms of the examples he gives and the positivity that he's giving. His vocal variety was very, very good. His hand gestures are always very purposeful. He moves forward, he looks at you, he moves back. Everything is choreographed very, very well. So that's very good. When Larry's here, please watch him closely and learn like I do. And I think he gave good examples. Also, he made very good use of humor. And that really captures people. When you're going off a little bit and you hear a joke, you kind of like laugh, it gets you back into the speech. He had a very good eye contact. He talks and he looks at everybody in the room, so he kind of like he's engaging everybody in this way, like you like really feel you are in and part of the speech. He speaks mostly about his industry, but you feel closely attached because all of us live in houses. We own houses, and we know people that have houses. And we are thinking either buying, selling houses. So you kind of like, it's a topic that interests everybody. And sometimes he throws in industry lingo in there that he maybe want to define a little bit. But other than that, he's such a good speaker. They say it's very tough to find something to challenge him on. The only thing I challenge him is just come up here and speak more.
So before my final evaluation, I'd like to call upon individual specific roles evaluating.
Vote.
Sorry. You should add a comment there. think we are done. So let's move on to the next evaluations. I'll start with timers report. Jody?
Okay, speaker number 1 was Lisa. She had 7 minutes and 21 seconds. Speaker number 2 was Eran Bozaz. I hope I got that right. She had 5 minutes and 3 seconds. Speaker number 3 was Larry Riggs. He had 7 minutes and 8 seconds. And let's see, evaluator number 1, I put general evaluator and then all the others. Srinivas with 1 minute and 17 seconds. Evaluator 2 was Louise Harris. She had 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Evaluator 3 was Christine Harris. She had 2 minutes and 52 seconds. And evaluator number 4 was Bakari, and he had 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And then for the table topics respondents, the first table topics speaker was Unwoo. She had 1 minute and 47 seconds. Alex was the second speaker. He had 53 seconds exactly. And Joe had 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Next, I'll call upon a grammarian. Lisa? Lisa, sorry.
Yes. Okay, so, Alex.
Yeah.
You speak very well, of course. The only thing I would suggest is when you speak, sometimes it's a little all together, all one. Your sentences are all like one whole sentence.
Rushed.
Your words are one whole sentence. So when you say probably, sometimes you say probably. But that's about it. David, there was something where I wasn't sure. You said well organized, structured. I think it's means the same thing. Lisa, you said something like, I had gone to visit my son. I had gone to visit my son. Eran, oh my gosh, Eran, I love your speech. And there was like nothing except for, I don't know if chatting up is something that you say, chatting up with someone. Larry, you said you are a trainer for rows, and I wasn't sure what that meant. So maybe specifying when something that maybe not all of us are familiar with, and I think that's something that you also mentioned. Anu, you said something to the effect of the summer I was first in the U.S. Maybe something better to say would be the first summer I was in the U.S. And then Bakari, you say a lot of when you speak, and maybe watch that next time you speak. Just try to cut it a little, maybe 2 of them, and then cut 3, and then cut 4, and then. And then words of the day were used. Larry used it once, Joe used it once, and Srinivas used it once. That's all I have.
Next, Liam, please deliver your counter report.
And was very popular this evening. David, you do it.
Yeah, I know.
So you need to pay more attention because you'll say you do it and then you go ahead and do it. Bakari, I stopped counting after 10.
I had to keep him company.
What was that?
I had to keep him company.
Anu, you like the word like. Louise likes and this evening. Not normally, but this evening you're getting a little carried away. Other than that, Liz, see, I'm doing it too. Lizette also likes the word But everybody else just had ones and twos, here and there. It's just, I think last time I did this, David and Bakari were the worst at it.
Working on
too.
it.
Huh? David is working on it. David does good on a prepared speech. There's no fillers when he's got a prepared speech. I've noticed that.
I don't have to think, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I just turn my brain off and just memorize and act.
But you are getting better, David.
All right, here comes the final report. Thank you all for all the role playing and signing in advance. So I'd like to touch upon some of the highlights, and extremely went great, and some of the not so, and we can improve on. Usually the meeting started on time, 7:40, perfectly. And thank you, Larry, for chipping in. Very analytically determined. And Joe, for president, acting president, you gave introduction to the guests and give out the topic, what they can participate in the club meeting. And Toastmaster evening, you were great. Explained the total structure and what involves and how where people can participate. I like your inspiration, Alex. It was really short and sweet. All the evaluators did very well. It's so great to see the actual structure as well as how the delivery went. You were rolling actually. What Leon pointed out, but I think that's, to me, that looks like you're actually rolling. It's kinetic. And timer, I don't think we general evaluator gets time.
Oh, sorry about that.
Because there's no specific time for that. Good word of the day, kinetic. Everybody got the rhythm and then got the vibe of that word and then tried to roll. Christine, I like your impromptu word, that overhaul. Those are some of the words that I try to capture. Choreographed. Nice delivery of your evaluations and to give the next better of the next speeches. Okay, that's it for my
Time everyone has been waiting for the awards. For best speech, Eran Bozas.